Okay, so week 4 and it's project week. It's all about you guys doing things which you want to do. You may have, for example, done something during the course and thought to yourself, I'd like to do more of that on the last week. And I've suggested maybe that you do 2, maybe 3 projects this week rather than trying to do everything in one large project. So, for example, you might want to I don't know, use AI to plan an itinerary for a trip, and you might also want to use AI to create maybe some video and so on, separate projects. So let's move on. A quick recap on last week. Last week we looked at how to use AI basically as a companion, as a sort of smart assistant in a number of areas. So how to use AI for research and summarizing large documents, for example, how to do writing and communicate effectively and efficiently, as well as making sure that anything you sent out was spell checked and punctuation, because AI is fantastic at doing that sort of thing. It's got a large language model, which is really good and making sure things are actually, grammatically correct. For planning and productivity, and for creating and fact checking, as well as critical thinking, fact checking, as well as being creative and decision making. So allowing you, with the help of AI, to get all the information you need to make a decision. Obviously, you're not expecting the AI to make a decision for you. You're using AI to give you the facts in a convenient and organized manner, so you can make decisions on things. And then finally, for personal and professional development, so for learning a new language, etc., etc. That's what we did last week. You may have some thoughts on that. So, have you used any AI tasks during the week? Do you still feel a bit sort of confused about AI and how you use it? It's probably it's a muscle memory. The more you practice it, the more it becomes very familiar to you. So keep going at it. So for this week, there's only a few bits of resources for this week, but they're available again on the quicktinyurl.com. This week's link is week 4 EAI. So week 4 enhanced AI. A little bit of development of AI, and this is development of most things in any sort of IT or business. So you got the innovators, which are like the very, very early adopters, and then you have got your actual official early adopters, which are like 13%, if you like, and then you got your early majority, and then your late majority, and then you got your laggards. So your laggards are the ones who will not do it until the very, very end, and then suddenly realize how useful it is. And this is with anything. And I suppose a lot of us are pretty well either late majority users or laggards. So let's be quite frank. A lot of the early adopters and the innovators to AI were a long time ago. This is not a recent thing. So we're about there possibly. And just another recap on AI. Within AI itself, you got a number of layers, and think like an onion, and you got multiple layers, one within the other. So right deep within the very center of AI itself, you got this deep learning. This is how AI self learns. It gets information, it processes it, it finds that, it files it away, and as it makes links to other sources of learning it's used in the past, it starts to develop its own views, if you wish to think of it that way, its own point of view, or its own sort of understanding of a subject. Then you got your neutral networks, which basically are, sorry, neural networks, which basically are the way the AI, the cognitive processes, the way it thinks, and the way it sort of processes data. Again, interacting with deep learning. You got your machine learning, where basically it's this algorithm, this program that keeps getting more and more. You're learning more and more. Oh, forget that. Move on to the next one. So, just to help you for this week, and I will have shown you this. I think I put this already on week 2, possibly even on week 1. is we have a search engine for AI tools, which is extremely useful. So here's an example. You can type in the keyword, or you can use the individual categories. So if you want an AI for audio, an AI for video, for image creation, all these sort of things are categories. So you can go through the categories and it will give you a list of AIs, and you can further fine tune it so it gives you the free ones first, or gives you only free ones, etc. So if you want to create AI, say for example, you're doing maybe using AI to organize something like a record collection, then there might be something there already created. Okay. And what we've now got is we've got a whole list of different AIs, loads of infographics to just give you sort of ideas and inspiration, areas you can look at and areas which you can use for your project. You may have come to the session with maybe one good idea for what you'd like to do as a project, but you know that you're going to have some time left to do a second project at least, and you want inspiration for us. So if you want to do a project with, for example, design, you might want to look at these different AIs. Now, unfortunately, these aren't linkable, so it'd be ideal if these could be sort of clickable and you go to the page. Unfortunately, you have to do the hard work by going through Google yourself and finding the individual sites. So if you wanted for writing, or ChatGTP is quite an easy one to find, no doubt. So you can search on Google for ChatGTP, and I'm sure you'll find it quite easily. You know, Quillbot likewise. Most of these are quite easy to find. Some are giving you the full addresses like slides.ai and beautiful.ai and Slidio, slides.co.com, I think. Well, but anyway, you know, you'll find them through Google. Okay, now I've got a host number of screens of these to go through, unfortunately. And what we were doing in the session, we were going through a sequence of like 3 or 4, and you're having a bit of time to have a play. And some people were working on their own individual projects at the same time. So let's go through them slowly. So that's obviously quite a complicated. It looks a lot easier on your actual personal screen. So people watching the video might find it easier than people in the actual session. And we got a load of, for example, 5 categories or 6 categories around the inner part. And as you go out through that particular color, you've got a whole load of different AIs you might want to look for, which do that type of thing. But that's probably not our best ones. Let's go through them individually. So these are some good slides. Again, unfortunately, not linkable to the individual sites. But if you want to do something on a research, then you might want to use these AIs. For example, Perplexity, I've used with you in the past, is a wonderful AI for doing research. And Perplexity is one of those few AIs which are trained not to hallucinate. So it's a really good AI for that. If you're doing something which requires sort of finding answers from a body of information like books and even videos and what have you, you could look at a Notebook LM. Fantastic source to be able to upload all your own individual information you want, and then you can do things like ask questions, have it create a podcast for you, create videos, create infographics and all sorts. Wonderful. So we've got Gemini and all that under research there. We've got quite a number of simple AIs for image, and these are not the only ones, by the way. Image we've looked at quite extensively, and we've got lots and lots of AIs for that. But there's, for example, Nano Banana, which is Google's Gemini equivalent for creating and enhancing images. That's a specialist version of Gemini, if you like, for creating and enhancing images. There's content. So these are good AIs for creating content. And let me go through the other slides. During the session, everybody had the opportunity to look at these. So for example, if you want to do something with images, you might want to try some of these AIs they may not have tried. Most of these are new to you. Most of these are not being used before in the course. So another example here are websites for creating a website, websites for video generation, websites for meeting a meeting like a meeting assistant, recording minutes of a meeting. Okay, I'm going to whiz through because we're actually going to do them now. These are something you can play with in your own time. So we got business type AIs for search engine optimization, analytics, design, and presentation. Some of the presentation ones like Gamma I've used quite extensively in the past, and they're really great fun. Canva's a beautiful and wonderful AI application to use where you can just give it a simple subject as a prompt, and it literally goes away and creates a perfectly formed graphical, interactive PowerPoint presentation for you. Really easy, really good fun. Some on design, audio, and on music. So, for example, some of the music ones allow you literally to create music by describing it. Yeah. And audio, great for creating voices and things like that, and etc. with design. Productivity, some general agents. The agents are where AI actually sort of like performs a task. So you might have an agent answering your emails and responding accordingly, depending on it, basically reading each and every email individually and responding appropriately as it creates a little sort of thank you for replying. I'll get in touch with you about the meeting on Tuesday at a later date, that type of simple reply. Uh, and there are these types of browsers coming out which basically have AI built into them, which will go off and it uses agents to go off and do certain tasks. So when you do something, it will then pop up and say, would you like me to do that for you? And you can be going off and doing something else, and it will be doing those routine tasks for you. Worth playing with, but maybe not to the point yet where they're easy to use and such an extent that you can just leave them to it. Some more there, which I'm not going to go into a lot more detail in. So any of these are interesting, pause the video and have a quick look and find them on via Google. And there we go. Now we also, just at the end, obviously it's the end of this course, but it doesn't mean you have to finish learning. And I'm not one of those who only allows you to know about courses we do in the college. We're more than happy to share the word about some fantastic courses which you can do for free, all online. Some of these courses here, the first two, for example, are actually run by Google themselves. I think they run through Coursera, but it's a well-known online course platform, Coursera. This one, deeplearning.ai, that one there, again, it runs via Coursera, but it's a great 6 hours. And, these are all quite short when you think about it. Your course you've done with me has been 10 hours of learning. So these are quite short. And if you want more on the enterprise side, I had this recommended to me by a student, which is the Enterprise for All course. I'm not sure how many hours that is, but I think it was about 10 hours at most. It wasn't a lot. Yep. So I've also got some other free online courses, so you can click this link here when you download the original, and you'll be able to get those original online courses. This is an external link. It's not my link, but it's got a good set of courses for AI learning. So, if you've got any questions, obviously, I presume you are watching this because you weren't with us on the day for the project week, or possibly you're just having a quick recap after you're doing your project and getting ideas for other projects. But if you've got any questions, by all means, get in touch. You've got my email address, and hopefully, I'll see you on other courses in the future.